Hello, this video is going to be a Q&A because I put a thing on my Instagram asking you guys questions like agony aunt, business advice, style advice, everything. And you guys sent me a bunch of questions, like some really nice ones and loads of them actually, and it was really hard to choose because I don't want to make this video like super long. But anyway, I split questions into one's relating to business and then one's relating to life advice, and I'm going to do my makeup while I answer. I love talking about this, of how much, like, what's my experience in design, because the answer is that I have none. I did French and Italian at uni, at UCL. I always loved fashion and have been selling stuff since I was young, but I just didn't really consider it like as a career path for a long time because I'm not good at drawing. I'm good at sewing, but not good enough to make stuff to sell. And I'm not good at sewing, and I just thought those were like the ways that you get into fashion. But I've since proven to myself that that's not the case, and I would say the same to anyone else, that you don't need to be technically trained to get into design. I literally just made it work for me, which leads me on to what is my design process. And because I work so closely with vintage, because I do my depop alongside my own label, I use my experience with vintage clothing to feed into my design. So because I've sold so many vintage items, I know what lasts well, what's comfortable. Like, a lot of these items are 20, 30 years old, so I can see like how well they've lasted. I've been gathering information, so I incorporate all that information into the design process. And a lot of my pieces I basically base off of like multiple vintage items. So I'll take, I don't know, the leg shape from this and the waist from this and the zip from this, and like, okay, they used to use a lot of gummy tags in the 90s, so I started doing them on some of my club collection pieces. That gives me a lot of experience that compensates for my lack of experience in like the technical training side of it. Luckily, I have an amazing manufacturer who I work closely with, who's based in London as well, and he's got a lot of experience in tailoring, so we go back and forth a lot with samples. Once I kind of send him the initial sketch, vintage items, fabric and my notes, we usually go back and forth a couple of times with new iterations of each design, to figure out, basically I just keep trying it on and get the girls at work to try it on until it's perfect, and then I release it. So the moisturizer I use is the Dr. G Black Snail Cream from South Korea. My sister just moved back and bought me 4 pots. I'm also prepping by using the Laneige lip mask. I actually prefer the lip, like not the overnight one, but just the one in the tube. I love that. I've actually got the Rhode one at the moment, and I would say the Laneige one is better. Okay, skin is prepped. Now I'm going to go on to my base. I don't like to wear too much makeup. I like to have a combination of, like, because I get quite tan in the summer and I go really pale in the winter, I have like a few different shades of the same one and I just mix them together. I don't know whether you're supposed to do that. But I use the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation, and then I just got the Charlotte Tilbury concealer. I used to use the NARS one, but I just thought I'd try this. The other day for a shoot I couldn't be bothered to put on too much makeup, so I just put on concealer. And then I was like, do you know what? I actually think I want to put foundation on top of this. It's kind of enough. But I'll do the foundation today because I'm doing a whole video. But it's not too thick because I have like acne scars and stuff. I struggle with acne. And it's nice to like colour correct a bit, but I'm not too fussed about covering it all up. I kind of have got to the point where I don't even notice it anymore, which is nice. Now this is one that I would say experience is one of the main things that feeds into it, but you don't necessarily have to have experience to be good at pricing items. Basically, a lot of factors are taken into account. The obvious ones being how much you paid for it, but you can't just base your like retail price on how much you paid for it, because you still need to sell it at the end of the day. People still need to think it's a reasonable price, which is why you shouldn't spend loads and loads of money on stock, because you still need to be able to sell it at a rate that like is feasible for buyers. So what you paid for it, but then also the market at the moment. Are there items that are more popular or less popular? And I find this always fluctuates like year to year. And things that, for example, capris, I was trying to sell them on Depop like a couple of years ago. No one was buying them, like no one, and I've been obsessed with them for ages, but people just were not into it. And now this year I can sell them for loads. So that's an example of kind of taking the market into account, what's trending. You have to keep an eye on TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest and keep an eye on things. And also, you know, like in one drop you might upload stuff and be like, oh, that type of skirt sold immediately this week, so I'll try and get more of those, and I can price those a little higher. I recently lowered my prices on Depop a bit because we're in a recession in the UK, and I just appreciate that. And I feel like, yeah, I will be making a bit less money off each item, but at the end of the day, I still need to sell stuff. So it's all well and good pricing your items at a certain price point, but people still need to be able to afford it. And everyone's got less money at the moment to respond real time to like the economy. I've recently converted to using one of these brushes instead of like a denser brush, and I'm quite liking how it applies my foundation because I feel like it does it in a very, it doesn't look too cakey basically. So yeah, I put those into account, the rarity of the item, seasonal aspects, like I just did a Halloween drop, and like there were a few really special, like a suede 3-piece, like a Western 3-piece, which I can price higher because it's quite rare but also perfect for Halloween. You just have to be dynamic with your pricing and respond to what's going on, you know, at that time. Also, as you get bigger, you can price your things higher because you have more overheads and you're delivering a more professional service. So now I have like employees, I have a studio, I pay tax, I pay VAT on all my sales. So like all these things add up. My overheads are quite expensive because of the size of my business, although we're still really small. There's only four of us in the team. But, you know, compared to how I was before, or compared to maybe other people on Depop, I am a bigger business, and all those things cost money. As you grow, you can charge more as well. I really like this question because I think it's something that people think about a lot, and I actually get asked about this quite a lot. But sometimes when I'm out, I get asked this, like at parties and stuff, like, is it so bitchy? Is it so competitive? The person who asked me this question did not frame it in that way at all, obviously, but I often get men asking me, like, is it really bitchy, like the Depop community? I'm like, no, like some of my best friends, like Asal, who runs Susamusa, we met through Depop and we're best friends now. It's never been competitive with us. We do pop-ups together, we share, like, we ask each other for advice, business advice, and like, you know, thoughts on new designs. I think it's beautiful. I think people often assume that a very female dominated space can be competitive, and it's just not. There have been moments of competitiveness, like with copying and whatever, but you just got to rise above that and remember that the majority of the people who are involved in this game, like this business, this little corner of the fashion industry, like, are lovely, lovely people, and we all just want to uplift each other ultimately. Like, it sounds cliche, but there's a lack of competitiveness. At the same time, like, I think everyone at some point will go through a point of comparing themselves to other businesses, which is obviously different to competitiveness. And I think an element of comparison is useful. It's good to look at other brands and think, okay, they've done that and that's worked really well, or they've done that and maybe it hasn't worked so well, and you can learn from each other's mistakes and also from each other's successes. But ultimately, you have to trust your vision, and if you're too focused on other people's visions, what other people are doing, you're not creating like original work, you know, whether it be a TikTok or a design or whatever, and you kind of lose your way with your own creative vision, which is ultimately the most important part of running a business. So focus on yourself, but at the same time keep an eye on what other people are doing and try and learn from it. And also try and establish relationships with people who are in the same industry as you, because it kind of eliminates that mental block of like comparison with them, and you never know what it might turn into. It might turn into a joint pop-up or a collaboration or just a really nice friendship. Thank you for that question, I really liked it. Okay, next I'm going to do blush. I got this for my 18th birthday. I'm 26 now, and I've just discovered how good it is. I've always liked NARS blush, but I found this and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. So I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but it's Narcissist Blush Contour and Lip Palette. Blushes are Enrapture, Enthralled, and Roman Holiday. And I like to use this kind of taupey brown one and this pink one together. Okay, so now we're moving on to the agony aunt bit, which I was really excited to do this because I love like talking about stuff with my friends and giving advice and hearing other people's advice, so I thought this would be fun. So I think it's really important for everyone to be alone at some point in their adult lives. Like if you've been in a long relationship, it can be really good to like actually, if you're not feeling it anymore, that is, like if you're happy, but I think for your personal development, I think every woman and man should spend some time alone. The time that I've had alone, like not dating, not seeing anyone, just spending time with my friends, spending time with myself, some of the happiest moments, honestly. Like it can be daunting at first because, you know, some people have a fear of being by themselves, like, and even just like spending time by themselves, really. But once you do it and you become comfortable with it, you become so secure in yourself, you realize how fun you are, you're really in control of your own life. And I think that's really, really important, because once you create a base level of being by yourself and really being happy with your life in that way, it means that when you begin dating again, you will only date people who enhance that. You're not like, oh, I hate being by myself, so I need to find someone quickly, because then you end up dating all sorts of people. But if you're like, I'm really confident and happy, don't know why I keep doing this, confident and happy in my own life, that's when you form really meaningful connections with dating. But also spending that time by yourself just makes your friendship so much stronger as well. So it's a really beautiful thing. So to the person who asked me this about what should you do if you're falling out of love or you feel like you're stuck in a relationship, don't be scared to be by yourself. It'll be difficult at first, but once you do it, so self-assuring to put yourself first and put that energy into yourself. So that's what I would say to that one. Okay, next I'm going to do my eyes. I like to put concealer on my eyes first. I just use the NARS one. This one's quite light, vanilla light too. It just creates a good base for eyeshadow. Okay, this is an easy one. Don't spend 24/7 with your boyfriend. It's not good for you, it's not good for them, it's not good for your relationships, like for your relationship with them, because you just get cranky and snappy and take each other for granted and all that stuff. It's not good for your friendships with other people. And you know what, relationships, they often end, and if you don't have any friends, you might either end up staying in the relationship longer than you should, or you leave it and then you're very alone and you don't have a good support network. So don't spend 24/7 with your boyfriend, because it's just not going to end well at all. We've all been there, especially like at the beginning of a relationship. Like you just spend all your time together, and that is really lovely, but that has to end at some point, and you have to like continue nurturing your other relationships as well, with your friends and your family and everything, and also with yourself. I would start kind of taking steps to spend time on your own, spend time with your friends, and be strict with yourself. Like just because you want to see your boyfriend doesn't mean that you should every time that you have that impulse. I think it's really important for like personal development and growth to have time apart. Also, it's just so nice to like meet your boyfriend out for dinner and like get dressed up and meet them out. Like then you can really enjoy that dating side of it, and like I don't know, it's just nice. I think you appreciate each other more because you're just not on each other's nerves all the time. So that's my advice to that one. Using a Dior eyeshadow palette. This was my favorite one. 5 colors, 647 Undress, which is discontinued. It literally breaks my heart, and I don't know if I can show you this without getting it everywhere. That's what it looks like right now. I'm going to use this one instead, which I bought as a replacement. 649 nude dress. It's just not the same. But anyway, I'm going to use this pinky colour in the middle and mix it with this light brown. And also someone asked, like, how do you establish your own personal style? So first thing to say is that your style will evolve constantly. So like the way I dress now, I've always been confident in the way that I dress, but I look at the way that I dress, I look back on it, I'm like, God, I would never wear that now. It just goes to show that like the way you dress is always changing, and that's a good thing. Don't be too worried about trying new things, because just because you've tried it once doesn't mean that's your new style. You can experiment, you can decide what you do and don't like. And I feel like for me, every outfit is like one step closer to kind of figuring out what I like and what I don't like. So each day it's a new experiment. I mean, not every day, obviously. Some days I just wear like a juicy tracksuit or whatever, but each outfit's an opportunity to kind of develop your personal style. And like I have OCD, so, and one of the ways that it manifests is like I do get quite stressed about my outfits if I don't feel comfortable. If it doesn't look like how I want it to look, I really fixate on that. I feel very like physically uncomfortable. Like when it's been bad, I've had to like go home and change because I don't feel right. It's like a feeling of not feeling right. And I've like gotten a lot better with that now, and just like being comfortable in discomfort and like trying new things. I love outfits and I love getting dressed and picking out pieces, and I love my wardrobe, so I just see it as like a fun little game. And because I like often for I do TikToks of like what I wore to work every day, like I just see it as like a little fashion show. Like I get to document each of my outfits as well. I think it's quite fun to just like take a photo each day of your like outfit and just like track it and like just see how your style evolves, and you can look back on it and be like, do you know what, that actually did look good even though that day I thought it didn't, or that hasn't aged so well, stuff like that. So I think just experimentation, it's an obvious answer, but it is a good one. I also love like pulling references, but I don't do it too much on Pinterest, but recently I have got more into it for YouTube. I just enjoy like pinning things. But for me, it's mostly like watching movies and TV shows and music videos from back in the day and getting inspo from that. I'm currently really, really obsessed with the Spice Girls. And like I have, they're here actually, these buffaloes. And I used to wear these all the time. And then I stopped wearing them because they started selling them on ASOS. And I was like, yeah, I can't. That's too many people are going to be wearing them. So then I got into my new rocks, which I love so much. But now I'm back like really obsessed with the Spice Girls, and they wore buffaloes a lot. And I'm like, do you know what? Seeing them reframed in that way rather than like every person on the street wearing them, I'm like, they're really fucking cool. I want to start wearing them again. And luckily I didn't throw mine out. Consuming media where people like style things in the way that you like is cool. But I think it's really important to put your own spin on it, because we really don't want a generation of everyone dressing the same, because it's good to kind of look at it. Like I saw this thing that was like Rick Owens for his mood boards. He doesn't like print stuff out and pin it on a board. He like looks at it and then just relies on his memory's interpretation of it rather than doing a copy, because you just don't want to end up copying stuff too much. And everyone's got a bit of creativity in them, so I think to experiment with that, it's really fun. So my tip for anxiety is just to reduce drinking, because I think like when I was drinking a lot, I actually kind of conquered my hangovers, because I would just say to, and this does really work, I would say to myself the night before, I'd be like, I'm not going to be hungover tomorrow. And in the morning, I would be like, I'm not hungover. I'd allow myself like watch an episode in bed, and then I'd go to Pilates, go for a walk, like see a friend, just get up at like live my day as if I wasn't hungover, and that really, really works. For anxiety, it's slightly different, because if that's in your head and you're feeling that, it can be difficult to like talk yourself down from it. But honestly, the best tip for anxiety is just to cut down on your drinking, not drink too much. And I do think that drinking is one of those things where once you start cutting down, you want it less and less, rather than like the more you restrict, the more you want it, which can be the case with like food and other things. So I've recently actually massively cut down on my drinking. I used to drink like a normal amount for an English person, which is probably a bit more for other people. And recently I've been trying to be more intuitive with everything, with like working out, what I eat, what I drink, everything like that. And I've been really enjoying it. And so I decided to do the same for drinking, because I noticed that my body just didn't crave it. Like I've gone through phases of being like, oh, I really, really want to drink. I just haven't had that for months. So I'm like, why am I drinking if I literally don't want to? So I've really cut back. I don't know how often I drink, like maybe a glass of wine a week or something. I'm not going teetotal. I don't necessarily believe abstinence is always the best thing if you're trying to cut down on stuff. If you are trying to cut down, abstinence might not be the best way for you, but just reducing. I would really encourage you to try and drink a bit less and see how that goes, see if you enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it myself. Like the other day I went out and we'd only had like a glass of wine each, and we just drove a zip car home. It was so nice because we could drive, because we hadn't been drinking. We'd only had one drink. I'm gonna do my brows next. I use literally a 2-year-old thing of boy brow. First of all, don't sweat about getting a 2-2. I mean, obviously I work for myself, so it's slightly different, but I don't really think your score of your degree matters that much. I think you can be a really compelling candidate for a job through a really solid application, having passion for the job, having enthusiasm, pursuing something that you kind of have excitement for, maybe experience. Like for me as an employer, if someone had a 2-2, but let's say they were applying for a creative job and they had a 2-2, but they'd done a project with their friend during the summer where they created a zine, or they styled a shoot and put together a shoot or something like that, that's way more interesting to me than whether you got a 2-2. So don't get too fixated on your final mark, because there are other things that you can kind of counterbalance that with that are way more valuable than your degree. In comparison to other people with moving out and your future, literally don't sweat it. Like, first of all, we're young. You don't need to have everything figured out. I think I'm quite a rare case that I really know what I want to do and I'm already doing it. I'm really enjoying it. But some people, my mum worked in like so many different industries, had so many different jobs, and that was like decades ago. So there's no pressure to have everything figured out immediately. I think it's good to experiment with different things, try different things. Each experience is a new learning moment, and that's the same with your career, because you're picking up new skills whilst figuring out what you like and don't like. In terms of your future, like, I'm someone who loves to plan ahead. I literally decided when I graduated that I was going to do this full time. Effort into pursuing something that you feel excited about will really help with that. Okay, eyelashes I always curl. It makes the biggest difference. And the mascara that I'm using at the moment is L'Oreal Telescopic, which I really like, but sometimes it does come off under my eyes a bit. So how good is this mascara? Love it. It's this one. Okay, lips next. So my favourite combo was Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude and then Charlotte Tilbury Foxy Brown. But I ran out of Iconic Nude and I haven't bought a new one, but I did just get this one, which I really like, called Super Size Me, which is a really nice rosy pink, which kind of goes with my blusher and my eyeshadow that I did. I cannot get over this mascara, it's so good. So this is a really nice rosy pink, which I pretty much fill my lips in with. And then just love this colour, and it goes really nicely with brown, like rose pink and brown just look cute together. So then I go in with Foxy Brown and I do like line my lips. Okay, I like to go in quite heavy on the liner. I think it creates a nice amount of depth. Annoyingly, this bit is always a bit red, but I can correct it with a bit of concealer just to neaten it up. But the problem is I don't like it looking too neat either. And then the last step, which I'm going to do today, is a bit of Dior lip oil. I use the shade, I can't remember the name of it, but it's this colour. It just goes really nicely with the lip liner combo. It's kind of dark. Okay, and that is my makeup look. Super simple. Yeah, that's that. Now I need to pick my outfit for this event. I already think I know what I want to wear, but I need to try it on and make sure that it works. Okay, I wanted to wear my black Lindsay shirt, and I think it would look really cute with this skirt that I literally haven't taken off since I got it. And as you guys may or may not know, I'm very into like grungy vibes, so I'm going to try them together. I definitely could have ironed this, but I don't have time, so you can zip it up all the way, but I think for this it's going to be cute to do it like that. I really like these together. It's exactly how it looked in my head. I love when that happens. Okay, shoes. I got these new boots. I think they could be cute because they're kind of like nothing crazy. These new rocks, but I wear them a lot. Or these. I think I'm just gonna wear those ones. Yeah, I'm just gonna wear these ones because like you can't really see that much under the skirt anyway. and they're comfy. From my POV, this is what we're working with. I think they're cute. Okay, coats wise, I've got, this is classic me, two very similar ones I have to decide between, but I haven't actually worn this one yet. It's not the warmest one ever though. Let's see. With a cute scarf. I'm full witch mode. Let me show you. Like, I'm in my Helena Bonham Carter era. Okay, I didn't want to go full witch's cabin tonight with the long coat, so I've gone for this instead. I got it from West Archive, my neighbours at work who sell archive designer. And then this, which I was deliberating on turning it inside out because the inside, no, actually I like it dark. And then this bag, because I think that's like a fun combo. Before I scarf up, Zara sent me this new perfume the other day. I love Zara perfumes. They do collabs with Jo Malone. I'm a big perfume girl, and I love this one. It's called Ebony Wood, and it's, how would I describe it? At first, it's like a bit fruity, which I wouldn't usually go for, but then it turns woody and a bit sweet and vanilla-y. I love it. Yeah, that's my look, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll definitely do another one because it's so fun. And I hope you're all having lovely weeks.